Viaggi per rivivere il tuo passato? Viaggi per ritrovare il tuo futuro? L'altrove è uno specchio negativo. Il viaggiatore riconosce il poco che è suo, scoprendo il molto che non ha avuto e non avrà. Questa rubrica è stata ideata con l'intento di raccogliere le testimonianze di quegli allenatori europei che per affermarsi sono stati costretti tramite un processo osmotico ad allontanarsi da casa, mettendo in gioco il proprio equilibrio di persona all'inizio, in nome del calcio.
Hi everyone. Thank you, Coach Saintfiet, to accept our invitation in this interview. We would note that Tom Saintfiet was the former Gambia national team coach, but he has also coached in a lot of and in several countries. So I would like to follow the timeline. Before coming to Africa, you were the coach in several countries, and in particular in Qatar, Al Gharafa and Al Ittihad. Qatar, I would remember before it was the host of the FIFA World Cup. What are your memories about this experience?
Yeah, it was in 2003. It was the first year of the Qatar Star League. The first time Qatar was investing money in football, and I went first as assistant coach of Bruno Metsu, former national team coach of Belgium, and we worked with Al Ittihad. That was the year that Gabriel Batistuta, Guardiola, Caniggia, Frank Leboeuf, Mario Basler, Stefan Effenberg, all these players went to Qatar to play there. It was a very good experience. I was a young coach. I was 30 years old. I started my coaching career on the age of 24. And by 30, I was in a very interesting league. I loved Qatar, very nice country, beautiful football stadiums, very good training infrastructure. Naturally, the football is not the same level as in Europe, but it was for me, when I was 30 years old, it was a very good experience.
And how did you integrate with this culture? Because it's totally different with European culture, I know.
Yeah, sure. First, you have to understand the culture. Sometimes you have to understand the religion. A lot of videos. You talk to a lot of people, and Arab football and Gulf football is maybe less fast tempo, less physical, but also skillful football. And naturally, the implementation of some good players from abroad. We had, for instance, also Amaral in our team, former Parma and Fiorentina midfield player who played for Brazil. You easily adapt. You watch a lot of games. You are every day on the pitch. You talk to a lot of people. It's quite easy to adapt to the calcio of a new country, of Qatar or any country. If you are a professional coach and you are willing to study and prepare yourself to learn the language. I learned some basic Arabic because for me it was very important to be able to communicate with my players in Arabic also. For me, that's very important. So I had no problem with it.
Then I want to introduce slowly to African world. So in 2008, while at the helm of Ops Rovaniemi, did you receive the call of Namibian national team? How do you feel in this moment, and how this experience came about you?
Yeah, I have two ambitions as coach. One of them is being national team coach to go to a World Cup. For me, the World Cup of 1982 was my first memory. I'm born in 73, and I was 9 years old when Paolo Rossi, Dino Zoff, Altobelli all became world champion in 1982 in Spain. There was the fantastic memory of the Squadra Azzurra. I grew up with it, and for me it was something special when I was a kid. So I said I want to become a national team coach to go to a World Cup. And the other ambition is to work in Italy. I'm big fan of Italian football, and I would like to become coach of a club team in Italy. So when I got in 2008 the opportunity to go to Africa to become national team coach of Namibia, I was 35 years old, and it was a very nice opportunity to work for the first time in Africa. Namibia is a beautiful country. It's very, very modern, very safe, very rich. It's one of the most beautiful countries in Africa and even in the world. And I worked with good players like Colin Benjamin at that time, the captain of Hamburg, Chico Zorazandara, former Werder Bremen player who played that time in Trabzonspor. And it was a good experience as a beginning coach in national team football. And we got immediately good results. I took from a coach from Holland who had coached 12 matches. We lost 11 games. I took over and we started winning immediately good results. And then I signed a long-term contract with them, and I'm very happy with that first opportunity to coach national team of Namibia. It was a fantastic experience.
Because I have read that you propose your profile to the president John Munizo. Is it true or not?
Yeah, it was. I was in.
With your mobile phone and say that. It is.
Yeah, true. I was in Finland. I was in Rovaniemi in the Premier League of Finland. I got fired there 1 month before the league start. There was something strange going on. Later it came out what happened there. And I was in Finland with my agent, and I was in an apartment, and I was checking, and I saw that the coach of Namibia from Holland, he left the country. So I called first the Federation to talk to the president, and they gave me the number of his job. I called the office in his job. He was not there. They gave his mobile number. And then I said, Mr. President, I'm your new coach. And he said, sorry, but it was not yet public in Namibia that they need a new coach. And he said, who are you? So I introduced myself. I said my plan. I said, you have 2 qualifiers the next 4 months. I said, I don't need salary. I come for 4 months. If you're not happy, you can send me away, because I knew I'm a good coach and I would get results. Plus, I got money from Finland, so I had no problem. And I went there and immediately got good results and got immediately a 4-year extension of the contract. So very special.
I would underline this miracle, because you arrived in a very bad time for a national team, because 1 out of 12 matches in the previous year with Aaron Shears, your previous that is similar probably to you as features or character, probably strong, stubborn, and that focus on character and motivational point for players. And then climbing FIFA ranking, 34 positions, but which is the secrets behind this miracle?
Yeah, I'm a tactical coach. People know me sometimes from the motivational speeches, what was on internet, and BBC and showed everywhere. But I'm more of a tactical coach. As a young coach, first I was more related to Holland football. I studied in Holland for my coaching, and I worked in Holland with 2 clubs, with FC Emmen and with Telstar. But after I worked in Germany, I started changing my mentality more to the old Italian style and the old German style with very good organization tactically. So when I came in Gambia, in Namibia, I first of all made a very good organization. The old-fashioned catenaccio, the good defense with a lot of discipline and distances on the pitch. Trained that with the team, explained that. So the base of my success, and not only in Namibia, also later in other countries and other clubs, is always a very good defense organized, and it's based on the old-fashioned Italian philosophy. And many times I could repeat that with different teams.
In fact, at that time, a larger part of players I know that played at home in Namibia, except for Colin Benjamin that you quote before. this was a fantastic player. But in fact, I would like to ask you your idea about your path now during previous African Cup of Nations.
Yeah, first of all, it was nice to see Colin Benjamin because he is now national team coach of Namibia. So my old captain is now coaching himself, and we are very close. We are every week we are talking, even with the team manager, and so in every club, every federation, I'm still good in touch, and with Colin Benjamin, I have a close relation. So it's good. And yeah, for me, going with Gambia for a second time in a row. Gambia was similar to Namibia. When I came in Gambia, Gambia had not won a competitive match for 5 years. So their last victory.
Anticipate a lot, in fact. I don't want to anticipate a lot to our audience. I would like to proceed step by step.
Oh yeah. So, but yeah, so I will explain later. But yeah, it was great to see Colin Benjamin, and yeah, we are still in close in touch, and he did very well now. He is now coach. And yeah, sometimes I help him a little bit with advice, but he's doing very good. And Namibia is a very special place for me, so it will be always like that.
And I want to underline also that the press adores him in that time because you were nicknamed the Saint or Messias, and you won the best coach of that year and other privileges and other awards.
Yeah.
How do you feel in that period?
Yeah, it's true.
Like a rock star for Namibia, like a rock star for Namibia's fans, or not?
Yeah, I mean, everyone know you, and everyone want pictures when you walk on the street or you go to a restaurant. People will come and ask pictures. That's normal. Namibia is still quite quiet. Other countries were more hectic sometimes, but yeah, even this year I was in Namibia of last year, 2023, with the family and friends on holiday. And people who don't know for 10 years, they come to me and say, "Hey, coach, can I get a picture of you?" So I'm still like a rock star in Namibia. Naturally, it was very special. We got great results. We played Zimbabwe 1-4-2. We beat DR Congo 4-0. We played with South Africa 100 days before the World Cup in Durban in the Moses Madiba Stadium. When Sablatter, Jerome Valka all were there, when Carlos Alberto Pereira was the coach of South Africa. We played 1-1 with Namibia 100 days before the World Cup. We played 0-0 against Angola. So we had really good results against good opponents. And we could change fortunes. I had good players. I had good coaching staff. And naturally, I helped also with my tactical and psychological ideas.
Then what he prompted to leave Namibia in order to take up a Zimbabwean national team? So it was a strange story because
it was a very strange story. I was 2.5 years in Namibia. I had still 2-year contract. I met my wife in Namibia, and I had a beautiful house. Life was very good, but I was young. I was 37.5 years old, and there was interest from Angola, there was interest from Zimbabwe, and Zimbabwe really wanted me, and they gave a better contract. Plus, I had the feeling that Zimbabwe had more quality players. They had Knowledge Musona, Nyasha Moshweki, Benjani Maurara, former Manchester City player, Blackburn Rovers, and so on. So I'm always an ambitious coach. I always want to win things. I want to achieve more. And I thought at that moment, when Zimbabwe called me, that it could be sportive, a very good step forward to coach the national team of Zimbabwe, because they were bigger. They were a bigger football nation than Namibia. And I took the decision to leave. It was a very strange one, because I went to Zimbabwe to sign a contract, but the contract was not ready. In Namibia, they were thinking I was on holiday. And then it came in the media, and it was very negative. People in Namibia were not happy because, I left them for Zimbabwe. And later, it was also a wrong decision from me.
Because president of Namibia national team decided to not accept your assignment. It's true.
Yeah, I mean, I had agreement with Zimbabwe that I would come and sign the contract, and then I would inform Namibia immediately that I will resign. But because it took, I think, 8 or 9 or 10 days before I could sign the contract, Namibia, they knew from the media, because in Zimbabwe, everywhere on the internet was Tom Saintfiet is in Zimbabwe. And Namibia said, where is the coach? But I couldn't say anything because I had not signed the contract, and I could not say I resign when I don't have signed another contract. So that was difficult. But he was angry at me, the president, and I fully understand. But they were very angry also with Zimbabwe because they are neighbor countries and they expected more respect from them. But in 2019, I think I was back in Namibia, and I met the president, I met the secretary. I went having dinner with players and with staff members, and everyone forgive me for what I did wrong. But it was a strange situation.
And because I would to know to our audience that the Zimbabwean story was strange because in few weeks turned out from a winning project, a winning project, into a disaster because you were obliged to escape in Botswana.
Yeah, it had to do with. I will tell you the story. When I signed the contract, I was forced to take a local assistant coach, Norman Mapeza, who was before the head coach, and my first game would be in October against Cape Verde. They had played Liberia in September, and very strange in the selection in September, there were 20 local-based players who play in Zimbabwe, and only 5 players who were professional abroad, and that was not the strongest team. And when I came, I selected 20 professionals from abroad, from Europe, players playing Blackburn Rovers, Linz, Cercle Bruges, Beerschot, Sint-Truiden, Belgian teams, also South African teams, and only 5 from the local league. And training session on Monday, coach, you need to stop training because tonight you need to be on the plane to South Africa, only 4 days before the national team match. And they said, yeah, you are working without work permit. But I was UEFA Pro licensed coach, had experience. I'd signed the contract, so normally that's no problem. And it's not me who has to arrange the work permit. It's the Federation who has to arrange that. So by night, I had to drive by car to Botswana. They would say they would fix it. But I never could return. So I coached, I did 3 training sessions in Zimbabwe. I never coached a game.
So was issued a warrant arrest?
Yes. Yeah, but so I was not arrested because even a policeman who stopped me at night say, hey, good coach. But 2 years later came out that my assistant coach and some other people were involved in match fixing. They were losing on purpose matches, and probably because I selected 2 good players, 2 important players, that they could not lose matches. And similar thing happened with me in Rovaniemi, in Robs, before I went to South Africa, to Namibia. Also there, Rovaniemi was involved in match fixing. The Zambian player
was involved in
Zambian players.
A Zambian was involved in that scandal in Rovaniemi.
Yes, exactly. And I will never involved in match fixing. I'm a professional coach who want to win every match. So I want to play with the best team. And when the director asked me to put not good players in the team, I will say no. And that was the reason I got sacked in Rovaniemi, and probably that was also the reason I got sacked in Zimbabwe, because I want to win, and these teams didn't want to win; they wanted to lose to do match fixing. So after 2 weeks, I was back without job. I returned to Namibia because my girlfriend, my current wife, but by the time my girlfriend was living there, and it was very tough because I stopped the contract 2 years more. I was the king from Namibia, and I left Namibia to Zimbabwe, and 2 weeks later I'm back in Namibia without job. So it was tough. Was a wrong decision, but yeah, when you are young, you make wrong decisions.
So over the time, you developed a unique feeling with the African fans, football fans start to compare you with the old legend like Hervé Renard, Bruno Metsu, Claude Le Roy. Are you proud of this result, of this achievement,
Yeah, and actually, if you are respected in a whole continent, I mean, all Africa, from Egypt to South Africa, from Cape Verde to Madagascar, everyone know who is Tom Saintfiet, and I was the last 2 years twice nominated top 5 coach of the year by CAF. I mean, if you look to Europe, top 5 coaches in Europe, that will be Ancelotti, that will be Mourinho, that will be Simeone, that will be Guardiola, that will be Unai Emery. So, I mean, that's top 5 in Europe. If you are twice top 5 in Africa, I think you do a good job. So I'm happy with that. I mean, sure, I would like also to show something, like I said, in Europe. But it's good to be respected, to be loved in Africa, to be a good coach in Africa. I mean, it's always good among the top coaches in the continent.
I don't want to speak about other coach, but what Hervé Renard conquered with the Zambia, the Chipolo Polo in 2015 was incredible. I guess Cote d'Ivoire, the final. It's like to compare Chelsea with Bournemouth in the final,
Yeah.
and he won. This is an outstanding result. But I know that starts from the origin with the youth academy, youth sector, with the selection of player. It's very important to enter in the mentality of the group. So I would like to underline this aspect because it's not possible to compare with a club, an European club. You quote Mourinho, Guardiola, but he spoke that language, for example, and I know there are a globalization in football. There is a globalization in football, but African, it's a melting pot of culture. It's a melting pot of culture.
Yeah.
Muslim.
But yeah. A few things. I played twice, by the way. Renard is coach. I lost with Namibia 1-0 against Zambia. But in 2019, I played with Gambia against Morocco in
Cote d'Ivoire.
And we won 0-1 against Hervé Renard. So I played twice against him, 1-1, lost 1. So it's 1-1 between Hervé Renard and me in direct confrontation. But I think everywhere, if you are a good coach, you have to understand the mentality of the players. If you work in Chelsea, or you work in Inter Milan, or you work in Istanbul, you have to understand the players. Football is multicultural. You have Japanese players, you have Brazilian players, you have European players, you have African players, you have different religions, you have different backgrounds. And as a coach, you need to understand. I'm from education. I have not only UEFA Pro license, but I'm also a psychologist. I have my degree in sport and business psychology. And I think psychology is very important. You need to study. You have to understand the mentality of players, the culture, the religion. You need to respect the place you are, and you need to adapt. And you have to. You are a people manager. As a coach, you're responsible for a team of 25 players, 15 staff members, a whole country of federation, a few million people. You have journalists. Okay, you need to match. You have to be like an ambassador, like a diplomat, working together and trying to achieve the best results together. It's more than only football training or tactical training. Being a football coach is more complex now, also because of social media and this kind of stuff. So I think you need to be a people manager. You need to understand the mentality. You need to study a lot, and you need to convince people to play the want to play.
And you can go on to this question. Your association with Africa brought you to meet your wife. How did you manage the deal with different culture in couple life? You can go on if you want, but it's similar to a group or a football group, or totally different?
Yeah, I think
In private
every
life,
country is
in private life.
Yeah, in private life, my wife traveled a lot with me. She is a daughter of a diplomat. She lived before she knew me in New York and in different countries in Africa. So she was used to travel a lot. She was a sport journalist when I met her, so I wanted a good relationship with the media. And she traveled with me to Tanzania, to Togo, to Trinidad and Tobago, to Malta. So she traveled a lot with me. We have a beautiful daughter of 7.5 years old, who was with us in Trinidad, in Malta, in Gambia, and now most of the time in Belgium. But yeah, you need support of people, and you need to be able to adapt to situations. Every country is different. I worked in Asia, I worked in Bangladesh, in Yemen, in Jordan, in Qatar. I worked in Trinidad and Tobago. I worked in Malta, in Finland, in Germany, in Holland. But I worked also in Ethiopia, Togo, South Africa, Namibia, and Gambia, and others. So you need always to adapt. Yeah, I have the luck. My family is very supportive. That we easily adapt to new situations, and yeah, that helps to succeed because it's quite important. But you will find people, you will good quality restaurants, shops, and it's always good to live where else. You will learn new cultures.
And returning to football aspects, how these Gambia calls came about you, because now I would underline you sit down in the bench for 5 years, and how this experience come to you.
Yeah, it started long ago in 2002 when I was club coach in Faroe Islands. I got a player from Gambia there, Mustafa Kamal Ndawi. He was the first African player in Faroe Islands, a tall striker. I brought him there, and because of him, I got in contact with more players. And that time I said, I have the dream, I would like to coach Gambia. We stayed always in touch, and in 2010, I played with Namibia in Gambia. Fantastic atmosphere, 30,000 people, great football atmosphere. And I met people. I said once I want to with Namibia in 2010, I said to people, I want to coach here in the future. We stayed in contact, and after I left Malta, I got a phone call from Gambia, and they said, "Are you free?" I said, "Yes." Are you interested to coach? And Gambia was not good at that. There were 172 in the world. Like earlier said, 5 years not won against Tanzania, and then 5 years without win. But I saw they had good players. They had Musa Barrow at that time, Atalanta Bergamo. He never played for national team, but he was just coming. He had played 12 matches for Atalanta. He had scored against Benevento, Genoa, and Lazio in his first half year in Serie A. We had Omar Colley, who was just to Sampdoria. We had a young player. Darbo was not yet. Yeah, he came later on. But we had also Lamin Jallo from Salernitana, and Yusufa Bob, Lecco, Cuneo, Livorno, and Chievo Verona, Aliso, Chievo Verona. And we had also Ibrima Komi, who was in the Primavera squad from Atalanta, who later went to Spezia and again to Hellas Verona, together with Pirlo to Fatih Karagümrük. So I saw a lot of talent. So I said, yes, I want to go to Gambia. And immediately my first game, we played for 45,000 people against Algeria, with Mahrez, Slimani, Feuli. We play 1-1, a very good result.
The atmosphere in this stadium, because very outstanding, 25,000, and then he became 45,000 of the supporter.
Yes, capacity stadium was 25,000, but Federation had sold 45,000 tickets. People were sitting in the lights, behind the dugout, everywhere. My wife and my daughter was there. My daughter,
like Maradona to some
2 years old.
It's like the presentation
of Maradona. Similar, exactly. Yes, I get now goosebumps. I have I have the film, the movie of Maradona in Napoli with the small car driving through Napoli. It's fantastic, and the stadium full. It's fantastic, so we had that game, but my wife was there 2 hours before. She had VIP ticket, but everything was full, and people were coming. People were standing behind the goal everywhere. People in the light post, on the roof, scoreboard, and Maris and so didn't want to play. But the match commissioner said, if we don't play, people will kill here. People get killed here. So we had to wait 1.5 hours extra. And we played, and fantastic, 45,000 people, crazy. We played 1-1 against them, so was fantastic experience.
It's like to say,
and we had another player. We had another player. The first goal was there from Hassan Cisse, who was at that time in FC Zurich, but last year in Lecce, in Serie A, scored last year 6 goals for Lecce. So I have a lot of Italian link with them.
No. Now, in fact, we would like to talk about this player one by one. But in fact, which are the steps that allow Gambia to conquer African Cup of Nations from 2018 to 2021? Because if you have to make order in the timeline, which is the secrets, the aspects that you consider, because there is a great work behind this result. Is people
they were
only see the final result, but there is a work of years and years before.
Yeah, one 72 in the world, only 39 countries were worse than Gambia. I started with a good defense organization, same as what I did before in Namibia. A little bit catenaccio, very close, organized, counter-attack football, fast transition game. That's the reason I liked also the players who play in Italy, because they understand tactics. They are more disciplined in defense. And the first game we played 1-1 against Algeria. The second game we played 1-1 in Togo with Adebayor and others. The third game we lost 0-1 at home. It was my first defeat, and Gambia had not won for 5 years. But we were standing on the pitch, and we could not leave the football pitch because the fans were throwing bottles, throwing stones at the players and at us. And the police had to come with shields. We had to be escorted in. And we were sitting 2 hours in the dressing room. And then the army had to come with machine guns to get us back to the hotel. We lost 0-1 against Togo. Togo was 50 positions better than Gambia. It's like Luxembourg losing against Italy 0-1, and the fans were throwing stones and bottles. And then the fourth game we won 3-1 against Benin. Then the fifth game we played 1-1 against Algeria in Algeria. In Algeria we had 18% ball possession. Algeria had 83% ball possession, but we played 1-1. And then we go to Morocco training camp. We win Guinea-Conakry 1-0. We play Morocco with Hervé Renard. We had 21% ball possession.
As your friend.
Morocco had 79% ball possession, but we win 0-1. We have a goal from Musabero. First goal from Musabero in Gambia national team. And the confidence started going. So we always played with a good defense organization. And then for the qualification, we had to play pre-qualification against Djibouti. And we had very difficult. We played 2 times draw. We needed penalties to get to the real qualification. And in the qualification, we were with Gabon, with Aubameyang. We were with DR Congo, the team who play now semi-final, and with Angola. But we won the group. And we qualified for Africa Cup for the first time in history of the Gambia. But the base was a good defense organization. I had very good players. I had good staff. I had Italian physical coach with Daniele Caleca from Sicily, who I knew from Malta. I had really good medical team from Belgium, video analyst from Finland. And I had a very good team manager, local guy, and a president who really was supportive. So we built something together, stable structure. And from that time, we started winning a lot.
In fact, regarding the youth sector in Gambia, how does it work? Because it's difficult to think about the youth sector with the debt structure for a European player, according to me.
Yeah, Gambia is a very small country. Gambia is the smallest country on the African mainland in size. Lesotho, Swaziland, now called Eswatini, they are bigger.
The island,
bigger than
excepted for island, because Comore and Capo.
They are smaller, but the mainland, Gambia is the smallest. Only 2,200,000 people, so 2 million people. Policeman in Gambia earns €50 a month. A professional player in Gambia earns €40 a month. So very, very little salary. But you have some clubs who have youth academy who try to develop players to sell to Europe. And now there are more than 150 players in Europe. We spoke about the players who play in Italy, but you have players in Sweden, in Norway, in Estonia, in England, in Slovakia, in Czech Republic. You have everywhere Gambian players. Some players play for big money, some players play for low money. But Gambian players play football on the beach, play football on the street, and you have a few good academies, but you don't have a professional league. You don't have a professional youth development like in Europe. It's more players who play on the street, on the beach, and when they are 14, 15 years old, one academy will take them, and some players go to Senegal because Gambia is fully surrounded by Senegal. One of my major players, Abla Diallo, who played for Metz in France, he went first to Senegal and went
there is a connection.
Yeah, there is a connection.
Koulibaly, Mané, Lamine Camara.
Yeah, exactly. So Gambia is a small country, but players are very motivated, very disciplined. It's a Muslim country, so you have no problems with alcohol, and players are really very disciplined, very nice players, very competitive, and very, very motivated players. And also the federation was very supportive. So you don't have really top youth development compared to other countries, but you have a good mentality with the players. And there's always new talent, because I always say players who are not rich when they are children, they are more motivated to achieve something. And you see that the mentality of our players is fantastic. And I'm very proud. There are examples like Koli, like Sabero. They are fantastic players, but also fantastic personality, fantastic mentality. And I think Gambia will only grow in the coming years to become a better country.
Have you assigned that also as a chief of youth sector? Youth sector chief?
Yeah, the youth sector is getting better and better. There are more international groups. There is one Israeli football academy. There is one Belgian football academy, former head scout of Anderlecht, who works now together with Bayern Munich. Before Atalanta Bergamo, they went to Gambia to find Ibrahima Koli, Musa Barrow, and other players. Also Chievo Verona, they got Yusuf Abok, they got Lamin Jallo, they got Ali Sowe. So more and more clubs, more and more scouts, more and more agents come from Europe. So there comes more and more money and better youth academy. We get better infrastructure in the Gambia, better football pitches. And I think the coming 10 years, Gambia will become stronger and stronger because of also a very good youth academy. Our under-20 national team was qualified for the World Cup, but also in 2004 for the World Cup 2005, our under-17 Gambia was there. Also in 2007 and 2010, Gambia went to youth national team World Cups. But now it's the first time in history that the senior national team goes to big tournaments. So it's interesting to see.
You coach a lot of players, and among the players there was Musabaro, as we know because he played for Atalanta. He was an enigmatic player, according to me, because was considering as a very talented player. But what did he lack to achieve
a status in European football, because now he transferred to Turkish. So it's a pity for a young player. Then there are other reasons, but it's a pity for a football fans, because I would like to see Musa Barrow in Champions League.
Yeah, and for me, Musa Barrow, when he was 18, 19 years old when I selected him, Musa Barrow made his debut in the national team with me. Ibrahima Colley, I selected him. He was in Atalanta Primavera squad. He played for me national team 8 months before he played for Atalanta Serie A squad. So he played first national team, and then he played club team. Same with Ibrahima Darboe. Ibrahima Darboe as Roma now Sampdoria. You know that Ibrahima Darboe played more matches for Tom Saintfiet at national team than for Mourinho or than for Fonseca, or so he played most matches for the national team, more for the national team than for club teams. I like young talent, and with Musa Barrow, I think he started very high. Country teams like Real Madrid, Tottenham Hotspur, everyone was talking about him. But I'm not sure if it was right to go to Bologna. In Atalanta Bergamo, he was more important than going to Bologna. In Bologna, he was still good, but he was scoring less goals, less assists, and maybe there was the problem. Sometimes as a player, you need to find the right team, the right coach who support you to develop yourself. Musa is a good player. He plays now in Saudi Arabia, but I know Saudi Arabia is not the same as Serie A, and it's really sad. But other players like Ibrahima Colley is now playing Young Boys Bern. He's still owned by Atalanta Bergamo. He's a fantastic player. Ibrahima Darboe is now back in Italy with Sampdoria. Sure, he can make the step still to Serie A. So sometimes you need a little bit luck, and you need to find the right coach, the right team to get the right chances.
But for example, Giampiero Gasperini and Mihailovic tried to make express his talent. But it's important to have the mentality, according to me. Did you agree with me? What do you see during your permanence in the Gambia national team?
To be honest, Musa Barrow was for me always a guy with mentality, very disciplined and very professional. He loves playing for the Gambia. He loves fighting. He's a leader for Gambia national team. But I don't know how he was in Atalanta. I don't know. I didn't work. I didn't talk to Ep.3. I didn't talk to Stojanovic. So I really how they felt him and what went wrong. But for Gambia, he is an important player and he's a leading player. So but what happened in the club, I really don't know.
The number 10 on the bench.
Yeah. But,
very important in the football.
Yeah, number 10, but he's not really a playmaker. He many times started from the left wing. Sometimes he could play striker. I think if he had played more striker role in transition football, maybe he could have scored more goals. Because people in football look always, what do you do for the team? How many goals you score? How many assists you gave? If you look Arnautovic, in Bologna, you want to see how many assists he gave or how many goals he scored. Same for Musa Barrow. So I think here in Bologna, he did not score any goals. He did not give many assists. And that's statistic, that's fact, and makes it more difficult for a player to go up in Serie A. Because if you don't do it in Bologna, it will be difficult to go to a bigger club.
Yeah, because it was from Mother Nature donates him a particular pace, strength, but also associated with a fantastic, a very fine technique, Musa Barrow. That is strange. It's strange for according to
good dribble, good
for a striker, African striker. Except Didier Drogba, Eto'o, these players were fantastic, but according to me, following African football was very particular player.
He was a very good player, and I hope still, because he's only 26 years old or 24 years old, 25. So hopefully he can still maybe return back to Europe. So
I hope so. I hope so. And then, can you tell us how do you feel when you compare the last 16 against Tunisia at 94 minutes, 1-0? It's like a Carletto Mazzoni. You start to run, to get closer to your fans.
Yeah, I think I turned around and I celebrated with my staff. I didn't run really on the pitch, but for us, it's in Gambia. We had many times last minute goals. For me, we scored in the 90th minute against Mali. We scored in Algeria. Yeah, in the 93 minute in Algeria, we scored 1-1. Against Benin, we scored in the 86 minute 2-1 and the 92 minute 3-1. So we many times, because of the tactics, we knew we were in the last minutes good. And against Tunisia, we were already qualified because we had won against Mauritania, drew against Mali. Mali, a very good team. And then against Tunisia, I changed 5-6 players who were not in the first 11. They were allowed to play. And Tunisia had only 3 points. We had 4 points. And then Abdoulaye Diallo, for me, one of the best players in Gambia, very skillful player. He played in France, in Metz, but he is very good player. He is very intelligent, very good passing.
Better than Musa. I know that it's difficult to make a comparison.
He has more football technique quality. He scored 6 or 7 goals for the national team, but he is very skillful, very intelligent player. He can dribble, he can hold the ball, he can run between the lines, he can give perfect passes, and he can shoot. So, and he scored a beautiful goal in 93 against Tunisia. And then you win in the second round. And you have 7 points. Never happened before that. Debutant in the Africa Cup will get in the group stage 7 points, and winning against the major team of Tunisia was fantastic. And then the second round we go play Guinea-Conakry, who is a very good team also. We had a very bad hotel. We were all sick. Noah Sonko-Sundberg, a player from Sweden who played Ludogorets in Bulgaria, he could not play. He had infus. We had Saidi Anko, now Young Boys Bern, before Porto, Valladolid, Saint-Etienne, and even Manchester United. 90 minutes before the game, he said, "Coach, I cannot play. I'm too sick." Ibu Toure from England, he could not play 30 minutes before the game. I can't play. So I had to change constantly and then we win in the second round against Guinea with a goal from Moussa Barrow on an assist from Yusuf Abob. At that time, Yusuf Abob played for Lecco in Serishi. And then you are in the quarterfinal. So that was a roller coaster of emotions and fantastic.
Quarterfinal against the host country, Cameroon. You defeat 2-0. According to you, have you reached the maximum or you have a short taste in your mouth?
The problem was that before the game, we missed 2 important players. For instance, Abdoulaye Diallo, for me, he was injured. So he was not in the team against Cameroon. But also, so and we played there. There was 40,000 people only for Cameroon. Was impressive atmosphere, beautiful stadium in Douala, and it was very tough to play against hosts. But in halftime, it was 0-0. We played very well organized football, and in the second half, when we tried to score a goal, and we conceded the goal, and a few minutes later the second. So sometimes I think if we had played also in the second half more defense, maybe we could have gone to extra time. Maybe we could have gone to penalties. But Cameroon was strong, and the host, I mean, they at home, small decisions sometimes from a referee, because the first goal they scored was a throw-in for us on our 16, and the referee make a mistake, and he gives the throw-in for the opponent, and they throw in and they score from that action. But these are decisions you have in football, and Cameroon was strong, and I think we were very disappointed when we went out, but if you are realistic, probably it was maximum.
So last question, because I know that you have to you are busy. So the first one was how do you consider the cycle closed in Gambia, or according to you, in the future could be the possibility to come back?
I left Gambia because I had still a contract for more than 2 years. My contract would end in August 2026. And I have a very good relationship with Federation. President is my friend. Even the president asked me to help to find a new coach for the Gambia. The team manager, the vice presidents, we are close, the technical team, the players. Maybe you saw a message from Omar Colley on Instagram, former Sampdoria player, who put, coach, you're my hero, you're forever my hero. If Omar Colley write that about you, it's really very special. A big player who play now in Besiktas and 5 years. He works with Ranieri and with other coaches, and he writes, coach, you're always my hero. That's very special for me. But we had a lot of problems the last 2 years. We had no money for training camp. 2023, even 2024, before the Africa Cup, we had no friendly match. No friendly match for 1.5 years. Our training camp started 6 days later than normal. We had problems with a flight, dangerous flight. There were strike problems about money.
Situation.
So there were a lot of problems. And I'm an ambitious coach. I always want to win things. I want to try to win Africa Cup. I want to go to the World Cup, and I want to achieve things. And I had the feeling that after 5.5 years, it was very difficult to improve, because if you have no money, if you can't play friendly matches, if you can't have normal training camps, if players are not happy and staff members are not happy because money is not paid, I thought it was very difficult to improve. So it was difficult because, to be honest, I cried. I cried. Players cried. It was very difficult when I said, "This is
when
my
I
last
see you
match."
again. When I see you again, the song.
Yes. And but by the way, the match against Cameroon was my 100th match as a national team.
Collector of
100 official.
I love them. I am a collector.
Yeah, these are all.
Togo.
These are all national teams I coach.
Ethiopia, Egypt.
Yes, these are all national teams. I maybe can arrange for you one shirt. I can get you this one from the Gambia.
The Scorpions.
I will arrange.
The Scorpions. I love.
Yes, I will arrange. But it was very difficult. It was very difficult. I was crying. The president was crying. My players were crying. But I think as a coach, it's better to leave when everyone loves you than to leave when everyone hates you. And if the results cannot come because there's no money and there is no improvement, I want to we will see the coming weeks what comes.
But were political affairs involved in this situation or not? No. Politics.
President.
Go away.
Yeah, no, but I spoke with the president of the Federation. I was not happy because of no training camps, no friendly matches. He asked me to stay because he would stay till August 2026 as president, and he asked me, please, coach, stay together with me because we had a very good relationship. He's a very good president, but as a coach, I spoke with my family, I spoke with friends, and it was only because I didn't have the feeling we could improve football in the Gambia. I thought it was necessary to leave to make a new step in my career.
And the other one, the last one, I promise. Among your countless experience, we can't not quote Bangladesh experience. A particular country, the most populous country in the earth, one of them. But we know that the cricket is the main sport. How do you change this view with the national team?
I only went to Bangladesh on a 3-month deal. the president of the Bangladesh Federation was a friend of me, and they asked my help for 3 months. So I went there only for a short period, and people were very nice. But it was clear that Bangladesh is not really a football country. There was a lot of media. Every training session there were 30-40 television cameras, every press conference also. So people love football, but Bangladesh cricket is top. Bangladesh football is not top. So it was a nice experience, but it was not the best experience for me.
Yeah, probably you and your colleague Stefan Constantine in India, you try to subvert this situation. But I know also that there was a dangerous situation. Kalashnikov was very, very
yeah. That happened in Yemen when I was there.
You love the risk. You love the risk. Love the risk.
Yeah. But I went to Yemen because they played the Gulf Cup with Saudi Arabia at that time with Frank Rijkaard. I played against Iran with Carlos Queiroz, and I loved this the football task. But also in Bangladesh, that time was a problem with ISIS, Daesh, and there were some problems. So in the hotel was everyone standing with Kalashnikovs and everything. So I don't love the risk, but sometimes for football you do crazy things.
So, Coach Saintfiet, I would like to say thank you for your availability. And according to me, I would stay for many times to hear you near to a fire and hears you like a child. So I say thank you. Probably in the future, I write you again for hearing other story, for example, Yemen or Ethiopian national team. We can stay here a lot of time. Thank you very much.
No problem. You're always welcome, and I need to do in a few months' time a new talk with you because it was a pleasure to talk. Let's do a new talk in the future. You're always welcome. Ciao.
Ciao.
Bye.
Se desideri continuare a sintonizzarti assieme a noi su frequenze calcistiche estere, supportaci con un bel like ed un'iscrizione al nostro canale.